Ramzan Mubarak.
Ramzan Mubarak aapko bhi. And on that, let's take a clap. 3, 2, 1. Action.
मैं कुछ बोलने वाली थी पर मैं रुक गई because who can speak when Sabika is giving us our action clap. Welcome new subscribers. Thank you viewers for making our Maybe Muslim episode such a hit. Sabika's Maybe Muslim podcast with Mariam Raza Haider has launched its episode number 0. मतलब कितनी ही खुश हो सकती हूँ मैं तुमसे, तुम्हारे नाम भी इतने क्रिएटिव हैं. Do check it out.
Please do, please do. It's our Ramzan gift to all of you. Very indulgent one. Hope it's a treat.
It is a treat, trust me. But we are not going to talk about treats today because we want to acknowledge all that which has not been a treat. On my Instagram, on Sabika and my behalf, I announced today that our channel, our YouTube channel, Mad Heart Talks, is all about well being and everything is secondary. But what is the first step of well being? Really, I keep asking myself that question. I asked Sabika that question, and I know what is the first step of well-being for me is to acknowledge when things are not right. And I really want to acknowledge in this channel that things have not been right for the last, I don't know, few months now.
Half a year, it seems like.
Yeah. So
Okay,
I
so
know I want Sabika to start because you were there.
Hmm. So 15th December 2019 was one of the worst nights ever, even though it was supposed to be a huge celebration for me. I was supposed to be performing as a professional performance poet for the first time. But I spent most part of the evening actually resenting myself for never having written any protest poetry, because that night did seem like the night when dissent should have been voiced and anger should have found a more creative outlet. Because when Jamia came under attack, I was, like I said, on stage and I had some 20 minutes of a pretty great audience's attention. And I just literally felt like I wasted that attention span completely. Because, yeah, I think the protest poetry had to be written, but only much, much later. Anyway, the next morning I woke up and I put up, I think, a 3 minute long video on Instagram just crying, just 3 minutes of me crying because I didn't know how else to protest. I think as a child, as your first understanding of protest is crying. So I felt like a child and I felt like seizing the most natural form of protesting at that time. So I cried for 3 minutes straight.
Yeah, I know. I saw that video and I was not in India then and I didn't know how to react to you crying on Instagram. And it was a very difficult watch for me. I did watch it. And I knew why you were doing this. I knew it was your silent protest. On social media, more than anything else, we are very, very wary of presenting our true selves. And we are also very careful of voicing our dissent because God knows who's following us. So I'm really proud of you that you switched on your camera and cried. For those of you who are our foreign viewers, let me just do a quick recap. On 15th of December, Jamia students were attacked in India, in Delhi, in capital. And Jamia has been a capital of, mass media studies for many of us, like Sabika and me. And it felt like a personal attack because this was no longer some obscure part of India that we were talking about. Not that. Even if it would have happened in some obscure university, it would have been not equally important to talk about. But it is Delhi is our home. It has been our home. Jamia also felt like home, and the students were attacked, and they were tear gassed in the library. Well, I wasn't there when it happened. I was abroad. It was shocking, but for me, there was nothing bigger than witnessing the Delhi communal riots because I was in India and the virus had already hit parts of China. And just being there in the city and feeling so helpless, I did not have the courage to cry on social media, but I know I cried. I cried through the day. I did not know why I was not able to get myself out of the bed. One of those days when you don't know what's wrong with you, everything seems fine physically, but you're just howling. And I had one of the most important interviews of my life on that day. And they kept asking me about my work, and I kept deflecting the questions to my by just answering, "My city is burning." Fun fact for our viewers, I did not get through that interview. Also, another fun fact that it did not feel life and death. Look where we are. We have a channel to talk about it, and there is a COVID outbreak. So, life is ahead of you, and life will throw punches, and we need to roll back at it. How about you?
I think the next punch that was thrown at me was definitely the 5th January attacks in JNU, simply because it came even closer home. It was literally my extended neighborhood that was under attack now. My mother didn't complete her PhD, but has done a partial part of her PhD from JNU. We have family friends in JNU, and I mean, like both my sister and I, we found a large part of our days was spent in JNU because our school bus used to wind through JNU to get to IIT. So yes, I remember on the 6th morning being at NID Kurukshetra because I was supposed to conduct something there, and I realized that I have to reach out to my family, and on our family WhatsApp group, I said, when when will we speak up? I mean, are we literally waiting for IIT to be under attack? And I do think that sometimes breaking the silence is also about specifically addressing your immediate family. And clearly, both Priya and I have expressed our love for family WhatsApp groups to break silences. So yeah, there.
That is a whole other chapter. I think if we get into the family zone, we would have to acknowledge that's where all the biggest battles of the life, for at least for us women, are fought. No matter how many battles you win outside of your home turf is where it seals the fate for you. But then I can't deny this virus outbreak has been a colossal suffering. And for once, I feel the whole world is suffering. So we are really in this together. I remember posting something on social media about physical distancing and emotional distancing. And I just used the phrase emotional distancing out of a gut feeling. And I realized that it was not just me. Around the same time, a lot of podcasters, filmmakers were using the same phrase, emotional distancing. So I felt like, we are sharing a same vocabulary without having read each other or seen each other's work, which means that we are, really thinking alike. And that's always a overwhelming experience. So you really know that you are sharing some real misery together. And I don't know what else to say. The virus is still out there. Today is my 35th day of complete lockdown. And
35th. I think we can dedicate an episode entirely to how did you survive these 35 days without stepping out even once. I keep wanting to celebrate that. My God, you really put your head down and done this like right. Anyway, and I think since Priya's already mentioned about suffering together, I love saying this all the time that the shortest poem I ever wrote was this one word, which is part Hindi and part English. Hum sufferer. Hum means we, and sufferer, of course, comes from the English suffering. So, yes, partners in misery would roughly translate well. Um, so we're glad that thanks to Mad Heart Talks, we're increasing the number of hum sufferers that we have. So please do keep hum suffering with us. Please keep, I think sharing whatever you're going through, because that's the idea. That's the idea with which we come here and bear our hearts out on Mad Heart Talks. I think it's time to offer some love now. On the count of three, two, one. Yes, love you.
yes, love you.